What it do? It's your boy Drew, quarantined just like you. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I promised you all that I would have some MLS and US soccer related content on the channel. For those of you who watched my gender reveal video, thank you so much for supporting that. Thank you for all your congrats to me and my girlfriend for having our baby girl. It was so great. For those of you who didn't watch it and are interested, I will leave that down below in the description box. You don't have to watch. It's not really soccer related, but it's just something special I want to share with the people who watch my channel. Anyway, in this video, we're gonna talk about that infamous image that's going around right now in the US soccer world, the US soccer community, which doesn't recognize your boy Drew. So make sure you guys subscribe, comment, and leave a like to help me get some more traction, so I can try to make some more people freaking like this sport in America. We're gonna talk about this image, the MLS team versus the the European/Mexican team. Players who play in MLS only and players who play outside of MLS. Pitting them against each other, who would win? This article was written by, Greg Seltzer from MLS, an MLS writer. So we're gonna react right now to his lineup right here of the MLS USA players and the USA European players. And I gotta tell you, this is actually a fun thing to look at. I wish more stuff like this was coming out. This is really cool to watch, really cool to react on, and I hope you guys stick around to the end. So anyway, in this video, I'm not just gonna go ahead and talk about everything. I'm gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about each team's strengths and weaknesses. We're gonna talk about man for man for each position on each team. And then we're going to go ahead and I'll preview you guys, I'll give you guys my prediction on how I think this game would go, more or less who I think would win. So without further ado, let's get to it. Damn, I need a haircut, bro. For real, this quarantine life is killing me. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start off with the MLS team. That means I need to take a sip of my drink. Okay, I'm ready. This team, let's go ahead, like I said, talk about the team itself. We have a team in what looks to be a 4-2-3-1 formation, and if you guys can see the whole screen here, I will put a picture on. You might not be able to see my face, but who cares? As long as you guys can see the picture, and as long as you guys can hear your boy Drew talking about it. All right, 4-2-3-1 formation. I think that's one of my favorite formations for the USA to play in. Just giving that fact out there to you guys. In goal, of course, we have none other than Brad Guzan, who I think if I had to pick this list too, I would also go ahead and pick Brad Guzan. Even though I'm not a big favor of him. I think in a high intensity game, he is, the go-to guy. He's the most experienced goalkeeper, American goalkeeper in the league right now. They had Bill Hamid on the bench as well, but I think Brad Guzan in this specific game, I would go with Brad Guzan as well. For the back line, we got Hollinshed at the left back, Reggie Cannon as a right back, and we got Aaron Long, and of course Atlanta's Robinson in at center back. Then we got our holding midfielders, Kanuse and Jackson Newell. And then, of course, we got the three attacking players, Sebastian Lletget, with support on the flanks by Jordan Morris and Paul Arriola. And then, of course, we got none other than Jozy Altidore. All right, this team, strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, I would go ahead and say right back. I won't say fullbacks because I really don't have too much knowledge on Hollinshed. I don't know too much about him, so I'm not gonna go ahead and pretend that I know every freaking player in MLS because I don't. Okay, Reggie Cannon though I do know, a really good high potential player, really good prospect for us. He's got loads and loads of potential. He's a pretty good player right now, but he's got the ability to be even better than that, and I think he's a really gem to have and keep in the national team squad going forward. So that's a really good strong suit for them. Another positive for this team is, of course, the center back. I think the center backing pair here is pretty good. I would go ahead and pick Mark McKenzie over Aaron Long. But I get why the writer of this, the creator of this whole lineup, went with Aaron Long. Aaron Long, more experience, probably a slightly bit better right now than Mark McKenzie from the Union. But McKenzie, I think, has more potential to be a much better player than Aaron Long is currently. So there's that. Miles Robinson, another player, young player, coming up through the ranks from Atlanta. Hopefully we get to see more of him in the national team because I think he does have, like I said, another player with good potential. Damn, I keep like studying my words. I must be freaking buzzed. Anyway, holding midfielders, Jackson Ewell. I think that's a decent pairing. I won't go ahead and say it's like a big strength for them, but I would say and comment that Jackson Ewell is a good player in MLS, a good high potential player as well. Now for the weaknesses, probably center defensive midfielders, Jackson Ewell and Kanuse. I don't have too much faith in them playing together alongside each other. But whatever. Goalkeeper, and even though I just said Brad Guzan is really good, when you look at the opposing team, it's not as good as we think it is. And then, of course, I would go ahead and say striker and attacking midfielder, both weak options. Striker, I'll give him some credit because, Josie Altidore, probably the best American striker right now in the league. Not talking about players like Jesus Ferreira, who didn't make the list, which I was really surprised at. But it's either him right now or Zardes, and I would much rather have Altidore on my team than Yazzie, the freaking post Zardes. So gonna cut him a little slack there, but that is a weak point right there, because if Josie, obviously if he's gonna be fit for this game, just a hypothetical game, but obviously I don't have too much faith in him going forward against a strong freaking team. Then of course attack midfielder Sebastian Lletget. I think I would much rather have had Paxton Pomykal or even Darlington Nagbe in that role, and this guy had both these players on the bench, so I'd rather see Pomykal or Nagbe in place of Sebastian Lletget. Like, I could be wrong, Lletget could be a great player, but for right now, I don't see him. He's never surprised me. He's never impressed me ever in my time of watching USA Soccer recently with him in it. And that's pretty much it. Those are the weak parts. Jordan Morris and Paulo Arriola are kind of neutral. They're like good and then bad at the same time. Jordan Morris, really a player, probably one of the best players on this team actually. Really starting to come into himself. Really starting to become a much better player now that he's playing on the wings more consistently for Seattle. But other than that, this team is pretty, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Now let's go over to the European side of the team, where you guys can see here. We've got Zach Steffen in goal. We got Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson as their fullbacks. Matt Miazga and Jonathan Brooks as their center backs. The three in midfield, we got Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Christian Pulisic. And then up front, we got Timothy Weah, Giovanni Reyna, and of course Josh Sargent as the main striker. Right off the bat, they're playing with a 4-3-3, very European-like. But I would actually think that this team, a 4-2-3-1 formation actually suits them better. When you look at the players they have on the bench, like players like Ulysses Yanez, players like Dwayne Holmes, I would love to see Dwayne Holmes in this team instead of, per se, let's see, Timothy Weah. But I'll get to that in a second. Let's start off with the strongs and the weaknesses of this team. The strengths: goalkeeper, Zach Steffen, much better goalkeeper than Brad Guzan currently. Fullbacks, Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson. Now, MLS side had a good right back, but not, I'd probably say probably a decent left back. But this team in the European side has a much better pairing. Dest, Robinson, two great high potential players. Dest playing in the big leagues right now in Ajax. That's a really big team, a team that knows how to produce young talent. He's looking really good. Anthony Robinson, a player playing for Wigan right now, athletic. But, if he's good enough for Milan, he's good enough for me. Another strength I'd say this team has is, of course, the midfield. That trio is just freaking, first of all, screams high potential, screams quality, screams skill on the ball. Just, oh man, they are so good. All three of these players are playing in the top flight of European soccer. Some of the best teams in the world right now. Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. They would totally dominate the midfield from MLS. Kanuse Ewell will not be able to deal with these players at all. These players will be passing circles around these guys from MLS. And that's it. Another positive, I go ahead and say Josh Sargent. If he's if he's in good form, good confidence right now, I think he actually could be a better striker than Altidore in the future. Maybe even a little bit now. It depends. On the day, I'd say. But let's go to the weaknesses now. It's only fair we try to pick some weaknesses on this European side. I would go ahead and say number one, the wingers. Giovanni Reyna, a player, not really proven himself too much yet. Just playing in the youth academies and playing like, not in the highest level currently. I know he's playing, what, is he the one from Werder Bremen? Yes. No, he's not from Reading. What am I saying? Am I a fraud? Yes, I am a fraud. He's from Bruce Dortmund. Yes, a player coming up, not really making too much of a mark as of yet, not making the splash at Dortmund that Pulisic was, but still a player who kind of worries me to have him there in a big game like this, a hypothetically big game like this. And another player that, I might get some hate on this, but Timothy Weah. I really, really, really don't think he's as good or going to be as good as everyone thinks he's going to be. Okay, there, I said it. And that's only for one reason at all. That's only because of his injuries. He seems to be, at least I hope he doesn't become injury prone, where he picks up a lot of injuries through the season where he, can't make the USA teams or any more like that, whatever. Like, that worries me. And because of that, that just makes me think that he's not going to be as good as we all think he is. I feel like I hope these injuries do not dampen his potential that we all think he has. But for right now, I don't rate him too highly. I really don't. I'd much rather have Morris over Weah. Okay? There. I said it. Hate me if you want, but I said it. I would pick Jordan Morris over Timothy Weah any day currently right now. And then another weakness I would go ahead and say is possibly the center back pairing. I think Long and Robinson are a better center back pairing than Miazga and Brooks. Only because, Brooks is great. He's the best center back we have right now. But Miazga, I don't have too much faith in him again. Another player who I really don't rate too highly like everyone else does. I think Matt Miazga, he could be, quote unquote, a flop. Okay, I'm sorry. I've said it. Okay, I said it. Being signed to Chelsea from New York Red Bulls, I believe it was, a couple years ago, being loaned out numerous times, I just feel like, that kind of affected his potential, his form, the way he plays now. Like, he's different now. He's different. He's not the same player, not hyped up as much as he used to be, and I really don't rate him too much. Sorry about that. But then go ahead and look at players from playing outside of MLS, center backs playing outside of MLS, and there's really not too much. If you want to go to Mexico and pick up Alvarado, go ahead. I think he's a player who deserves another chance at the national team, a player who we deserve to see what he can offer us in the national team going forward. But we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, I mentioned Dwayne Holmes earlier, and I would love to see Dwayne Holmes in this team. I would go ahead and line this team up as a 4-2-3-1, having the same goalkeeper, same back line, 2 holding midfielders with Adams and McKennie. The 3 attacking midfielders, I would go ahead and put Pulisic on the left, I guess Giovanni Reyna on the other side as the other winger. And down the middle, I would put Dwayne Holmes, who was in pretty good form for Derby County before this whole quarantine shit happened. And then, of course, Josh Sargent up front. That's cool with me. But I think that 4-2-3 formation fits this team much better than a 4-3-3. I feel like you get more out of all the players that are good enough to fit in the squad in that kind of formation. Yeah, I think I talked enough about this. Let's go ahead and talk about how I think this game would go. Well, I think it would be pretty easy to decide the winner, at least. The game-wise, I don't think it would be too easy. But I think that the European side, despite having a lot much younger players than the MLS side, probably, I think they would actually grind out a win here. I think the midfield would overrun the MLS midfield. I think the fullbacks would absolutely destroy the wingers and the fullbacks from MLS. Despite me hyping up Reggie Cannon, I think he won't be able to keep up with Anthony Robinson right now. Anthony Robinson is a great, pacey player, very skillful on the ball. He's good. He's really, really good. And I think he'd be causing Reggie Cannon a lot of trouble, especially with Reggie Cannon having to deal with Giovanni Reyna as well. And probably even Christian Pulisic if they have him farther out on the left side from the midfield. That would be a nightmare for Reggie Cannon and Paul Areola. Areola and Cannon having to deal with Reyna, Pulisic, and Robinson. Come on. That's crazy. And then look at the other side. Serginho Dest and Timothy Weah going up against Jordan Morris and Hollinshed. Crazy. I think they would absolutely destroy them. Midfield, like I said, I already mentioned the midfield. Destroy them. I think Josie Alter would have a tough time getting away from Jonathan Brooks, who would actually absolutely mark the shit out of Josie Altidore. Sebastian Lletget would be useless because right now I think he's not as good. This European team would absolutely fucking destroy this MLS team. Josh Sargent, Timothy Weah, and Giovanni Reyna would get past Aaron Long and Miles Robinson eventually. It would be tough because these are really good defenders, but they would actually get past them eventually, and that's literally That's it. That's the whole story. McKennie, Adams, Pulisic, with their eye, with the way they put their mentality, they would find a good pass. They would get Josh Sargent on goal. Timothy Weah would make a good cross. Giovanni Reina would cut inside and freaking pass it to Josh Sargent, who would score the goal. I would pick this team to win 3-1. I would pick this European side to win 3-1 against the MLS side. The only person to get a goal probably would be Jordan Morris for the MLS team. But you know what? We shouldn't go ahead and say, yeah, this is great. European side, all our European players are great. No, we can go ahead and say that, but we have to remember that we just can't be loving all our European players and just freaking reject all the players here from MLS. We need these players from MLS to match the potential, match the ability and the intensity of the European soccer American players. Because if we can do that, we would have a freaking abundance of great, talented players to offer for our national team, for the World Cups, for the qualifier World Cups, for the Gold Cups, for all those tournaments. We would have all these great amount of players to choose from. Not just choosing one from one other continent to the other. Like, come on. I would love to see all these players, all of our American players, on the same level. And that's only going to work if we all help MLS grow here in America. So be sure you guys subscribe. That's it. That's my reaction to this graphic right here. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you think got snubbed on either lineup, and who do you think would win this matchup? As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you next time. Peace.